Welcome back to Briggs on Books, our international talk show where we talk to authors from all over the world about their book, about their process on writing books, how do you get books published anyway, and also about the topics that they cover in their books. There's been a subject that's been coming up for a while, which I don't totally understand, and that's blockchain, which I thought just had something to do with money or moving money around or something. But I think we're going to find out from our guest, our next guest, Sylvain Metz, that it's not just about money, is it?
No, Mike, it's much, much more than money. It's about privacy. It's about protecting one's data, protecting one's identity online.
By the way, before we go too far, here's the cover of your book, titled simply, Let's Meet Blockchain. And I think a lot of us should be meeting blockchain and learning about it. Tell us a little bit about the book and about blockchain.
Okay, well, the book is a general overview. It's an introduction, first dip in the toe in the water, looking at this technology. And I cover blockchain. I look at cryptocurrency, NFTs or non-fungible tokens, and I also take a look at Web3, which is the decentralization of the World Wide Web. All are connected.
Yeah. Now, as I understand, which I've learned not anywhere else except from you and your book, it's a way to bring us to do transactions more directly than through a third party?
No, exactly. You go through what would they call peer-to-peer transactions. And so basically you're cutting out the middleman. That way, for example, I could send you, if I wanted to buy or purchase, send you something or buy something from you, I can do so directly, and I wouldn't need a bank or another third party to help with that transaction. I could do it directly, and that that saves me money.
And it's more than just money, but I understand that our medical records are floating out there somewhere, and our credit reports and stuff like that. How would this
absolutely?
How would this avoid that kind of losing of our privacy?
Well, exactly, because it is a peer-to-peer transaction. Blockchain transactions include goods and services sold on blockchain, includes cryptocurrency, of course, as we talked about, but it also includes information that's sent between parties. And this includes health records. This includes land records, which are being used in the Republic of Georgia, for example, and in India. There's a state in India that puts land records on blockchain. You also have voting, which is a big topic these days. There's a great company out in Boston, Massachusetts called Votes, VOATZ, and they've developed an amazing app they've been using for several years now that allows people to vote safely and securely online.
So when you
so that's one other thing. Then of course you have the musicians and artists and writers. You have a publishing house that that produces books on blockchain. You have again finance and banks that use it. You can book vacations using blockchain. So it's just a very secure, safe way to conduct business and keep out the middleman and the central parties that kind of control our information.
Do you have to intentionally use blockchain, start up a program or an app, or is it just going to happen automatically for us?
No, right now you have to. Right now you basically have to go online, and you have to have your own wallet and an own account with crypto in it, which where you also store your NFTs and other transactions. Your information is stored in that virtual wallet that's on your PC, but you have to set it up, and I think that's going to be the big challenge for this next step of what I like to see as the next step of blockchain, where hopefully maybe it could be happening now, I don't know, where maybe an operating system is developed around blockchain, which would make it easier. Because right now, where you're looking at technology, it's great, and some of the browsers like Opera and that use it, and Brave, which is another great offer. they're great. They're great websites and they're great browsers,
Yeah.
but they're a little bit behind. I think they're a little bit behind what we know today. I mean, they're very functional, but when you look at the technology, what the like Google uses today or the Microsoft, they're 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 a little bit behind, but they're catching up
Yeah.
in terms of ease of use.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be the next big step for blockchain.
It's going to be
And
built.
one thing I'm really excited about is I mean, it's happening. There's a great company there in Silicon Valley called Deeper VPN, and Deeper VPN is basically it's a hard piece of hardware that's already programmed for blockchain that allows you to connect with instead of buying the subscription for VPN, you can just plug it into your PC or your smart device. I'm looking forward to trying that myself.
By the way, I find that I'm a computer guy. I like that mouse and the keyboard and everything. I'm learning more and more in my business because we solicit guests for our shows through email. The people aren't using a computer. They're all using their phone for everything.
Right. Well, again, there's a number, I point this in my book. There are a number of apps that you can use, messaging apps and services that have already adapted decentralized applications. They call them decentralized applications or dApps. And that uses blockchain technology
I
to
kind of
keep
get
your
the
messaging safe and so forth.
I kind of get the feeling from some things you're saying is that maybe we won't have to intentionally go out and learn blockchain and intentionally load it on our devices, but it's going to be built
Well,
in. Sounds like it's going to be
I,
built in.
I think so. I think so. I mean, I don't know. I think they're working in that direction because think of it like when computers first came out and everybody was using DOS, and then Windows came along and oh, this is easy, and then Apple came along and oh, this is great. You could just click, and I think that's where it's going to go down the road. I think that would make it much easier, much more helpful. But I think it's a technology that's it's firm now. It's been coming since the first Bitcoin was coined in January 2009, and the first NFT I believe was 2014. That I'm right. Don't hold me to that, but I believe that's right. But it's taken firm root now, and today we see it with now we're learning about Microsoft and Google and now Adobe and Apple in its iOS 18. Basically creeping into our devices.
Yeah.
And in Adobe's case, they're basically threatening their customers, saying you need to sign up to this new program so we can take your information and build our AI system. And oh, by the way, we're going to take it from you without compensation. So we're going to get rich for using it.
Yeah.
So basically, what I'm thinking is, this in decentralization, this technology will basically protect the consumer from that kind of predatory actions.
And by the way, I want to bring you back to this book again because hopefully
Yeah.
people will watch this interview and say, I better figure that out. I'm going to get this book. Where'd your interest in blockchain come from? I know you're a journalist and an author, but where did your interest arise on this subject?
Well, I actually was contacted in September 2021 by someone with Near Foundation. And Near Foundation funds programs for Near University, and they build protocols on top of the Ethereum blockchain. And he was looking for artists actually, journalists and artists to write about, this technology. I think he wanted to take it out of the tech bubble because inside that bubble, everyone's talking. I mean, they're very jazzed about it. But outside, they're not really communicating that spirit with those of us on the outside, and I had no idea what the man was talking about.
Yeah.
So he sent me some materials. I looked them over. I said he wanted a ghostwriter, but he didn't know what a ghostwriter was, and he just wanted some articles or ebooks written on these topics. So we talked, and in October late that year, I started working, and our association ended that a few months, I think February or March of the next year, but I continued working and developed the book from the drafts that I had created.
Who should
And
be
it took
go ahead. Who should be reading this book? Is it important that we know about this?
everybody should, especially if you're a lawmaker. Right now, there are aspects of this technology like smart contracts and cryptocurrency. How it factors in? Is it a tax, or is it money, or is it taxable income? I mean, there's lots of considerations, and so lawmakers are reacting. They need to be more proactive. I mean, they can't figure out how to use their smartphones, and they're not very good at regulating social media. So this is going to be a big hurdle for them, and they don't understand it. So their staffs need to be reading this. Lawyers, attorneys at law need to be reading this, and so forth, because this is going to end up in the courts one day. I can promise you, it always does. And somebody's go, well, I've got a smart contract. Well, a smart contract is really not a contract in the basic sense. It's just if terms and conditions are met, then the transaction goes forward. But they're getting more complicated. In fact, lawyers are using them in their contracts today in some law firms. So there's that. There's a group called social platforms are run by Decentralized Autonomous Organizations, or DApps. Well, these little organizations are run from the bottom up instead of the top down. And in addition to social media, they're being used for philanthropic organizations. They're being used for venture capital. Media is using them. And they're passing around, they're doing these venture capitalists, they're passing around millions of dollars all the time. So what's happening now is they don't fit under the corporation law, the laws of corporate America do today. It's a completely new entity. So the lawmakers really, and some are, they are making strides, but I think they're reacting, and they don't really understand what they're looking at. And going back to voting, if I could just a second,
please.
That's another important topic. It needs to be looked at because, like I said, Votes has done an outstanding job in conducting elections in states around the country, including one presidential election. Someone voted in a presidential primary back in 2020, and but no one's talking about it. No one's talking about it. We send trillions of dollars around the world, and we send all kinds of private information around the world. And voting is the one thing where we go crazy. It's not rational. If you can send trillions of dollars around the world, and you can send information around the world, and Votes has a system that allows you to vote, why not use it?
Right.
Why not take a serious look at it? But I can even find really serious press accounts looking at them. There's been a little story here, a little story there.
Yeah.
But no one's taking them seriously. So, there's a lot of opportunity for that. Again, healthcare is being used widely in healthcare to protect your data. To if you want to sign up for medical exams or something, it's there. So medical and banking, and it's just used by everybody. So anybody and everybody, even if you're an artist and you want to, hey, I want to create something, I want to write a book, look at NFTs.
Mm-hmm. Right. I would say this for our viewers: you got to know about blockchain. It's coming after you, and you want to know about it before it gets there. It's probably already in your life. Buy this book, but not just one. Buy 5 of them and send one to your congressman, one for your legislator,
I love it.
city
Yes.
councilman, stuff like that, and share them around.
Yes.
Sylvain, any last thoughts for our viewers?
No, I would just, like I said, this is a serious technology, and people really. I know it's a tech book, but believe me, it's a fun read. It's not just what it is, but it's how it's being used. It's got had a little fun and a little history and a little bit of pop culture, and it's a long read. But I promise you, readers will learn something new. The fact that the ones that have come to me that have read it said, "I didn't know that before." So it's something that should be taken seriously.
Is it out on the ebooks?
It's on ebook and in softcover. Yes.
On Father's Day the other day, I got a Kindle, so I haven't read anything on it. I don't even know how to start it up, but maybe I'll start with that. It sounds like it's something
You should.
I
You
should know
should.
about, and I'd like to know about. Sylvain, thank you so much,
Yes.
and maybe
Thank
we'll
you. I
talk to you in
appreciate
a
it.
couple more months. I think it's an important subject.
All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, Mike.
We'll be
Have a
back
good
with
day.
more Briggs on Books right after this.